these are the things that I brought today, and I want to show you what's inside my bag for my summer activities. So this is basically my summer bag. First off is this cloth, since our setting is the park today, and I also brought some things since I couldn't decide what I want to do. I have my coloring book so I can color. Here are my coloring materials. I can also journal, and I can also read a book. I also have my handy cam, my makeup kit, and my wallet. This is far too complicated. I want to do something very creative. I can finish this.
Like a boulevard, starting again until the end. Only when you're paying attention.
So flawless. I just finished my first drink, and look at hers. This isn't the summer that I turned pretty, this is the summer that I read a lot of books. And I will be sharing with you all of them. I also have my reading journal because I don't want to ramble for hours. I want to make this really short. Okay, the first book that I picked up, I think this was around April. This was for the Intimidating Classics Book Club, East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I think I finished this July. It took me 4 long months to finish this very rich and dense book. When I first read this book, I actually wasn't aware of its popularity, especially around book talk. But now I think it's everyone's favorite book, and I've also mentioned how important this read was for me. Probably my most definitive book of the year, and I've stood by the truth since then. Well, if you haven't heard of the story, this basically tackles the complexities of good and evil, inheritance, and the human nature. And in this story, we follow two families, the Trusks and the Hamiltons, as they deal with moral dilemmas, the search for identity, and the cyclical nature of sin. Well, this book ultimately questions whether we are born into sin, we are inherently flawed, or we are capable of being free from it. That's East of Eden. I gave this 5 stars. The next book that I read is I Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. I believe I've already mentioned my first impression of this book on here, and I remember being drawn to its premise as well as its writing style and its pace. I think it really set the tone for the story, and I think it was kept that way until the end because I ended up really loving it. I gave it 5 stars, so you can just imagine how good this season really is for me when it comes to books. I thought it was really introspective and compelling, and what really made me drawn to the story until the end is how it made me think. And I think this what makes the book stand out, how it makes you reflect on reality and how it explores the very essence of the human existence as well as what we really need to feel whole. And the next book that I read was Me Before You. I feel like I talk about this too much, but this was the book that I brought to Boracay, and now that I'm looking back, I feel like this might be a favorite for old time's sake, or I might be in this paradise bubble. That's why I gave this 5 stars. So I bumped it down into 4. Still a good rating though. This book really explores what makes life meaningful, as well as this very painful and difficult decision to love someone enough to let them go. Though I think there's something new that I've noticed now that I'm reading this as an adult. I think I'm seeing the story in a new light. Back in high school, I was really just in it for the romance, but now I have a deeper appreciation for Will's message to Louisa. I think it really resonated with me since I'm also trying to, you know, navigate my own unfamiliar path. So, another five-star book that I read and I recommend to everyone is Chess. This is so short. I feel like this punched me in the face and I didn't notice, but it surely left a mark. That's how brutal and impactful this book is. Here we get to witness this chess match between a world champion and this mysterious man we call Dr. B. And as the story progresses, we get to hear Dr. B's backstory and his obsession with the game while he was in prison that led him to a mental breakdown. And in the end, the author gives this brilliant lesson on knowing when to leave the table before the stakes consume you completely, and I thought it was perfect. It's getting dark, so I'm going to be really quick. The next two books that I read are both romance books, but I don't have them with me right now because my cousin is reading them. But I read It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I gave it 3 stars. I don't have much to say about it except it's cute and quick, and you can really tell that the male character is written by a woman because most of the time he's saying the right things. That's all I can say. Next is The Mistake. I gave this 1 star, hated it. This is probably the last book that I'm going to read from Elle Kennedy. I think what really gave me the ick about this book is how it failed to deliver on its promise, because the blurb says this: Logan plans to spend his final year proving to her that he's worth a second chance. Didn't think so. I didn't think Logan had a hard time. We basically know how it will end, and I just stopped being curious. The seventh book that I read this season is Dear Distance by Luis Joaquin M. Katigbak. This is for the Buenang Wika, or the month of language, since it's August, and this is a short story collection. So nostalgic, but at the same time, so advanced. It's in the middle of the past and the future. But I think what makes this memorable for me is the writing style. It's so poetic and observant, and it has so much personality. So even though I didn't like this to an extent, I will still be reading his works. I want to give you a journal update because I've been writing on my planner and I noticed how beautiful this journal has turned into after a couple of months. As you can see, this leather cover now has this very beautiful patina. I'm not sure if you can see it with this camera, but it has texture now. I think this is after being thrown around my bags for months. And I also love how this photo booth section has grown ever since I've last shown you this. It now has a lot more photos than before with my friends and my loved ones, and I think this just goes to show what I've been up to lately, and I think it's a really beautiful documentation. So yeah, this is my journal. I also want to give you a reading update. This is my current read for the Intimidating Classics book club, and this is how I've been annotating it so far. I haven't put any tabs yet, but I've been writing in the margins a lot, as well as underlining texts that I find important. But I think I'm going to put tabs later on without really playing around with themes. I think I'm going to go with a single color. I've also been taking a lot of notes in my reading journal about the book, and this is how it's going so far. This is where I put my lengthy comments about certain sections, as well as important quotes that I feel like I might need later on, or quotes that I really like.